Everything in life is a risk. Deciding to go with a particular company is a risk. Working in a particular industry is a risk. It could be a positive risk, though. Not every risk is negative. Now, in your current employment, we hope for the best, but we do need to work as though tomorrow or even today would be our last day. Ask anyone that has been through a layoff. They will tell you they wish they had done that, thought about tomorrow, not just living as though everything will be the same. Let's take a look at the comprehensive list of tech layoffs to give you a good understanding of what I'm talking about. Clubhouse announced earlier this month that it had laid off more than 50% of its staff. Dropbox announced it had laid off 16%. Amazon announced that it was shutting down its Halo Health division. The layoffs were part of 9,000 employees. And this brings the layoffs that Amazon has done this year to a total of 27,000. My goodness. 27,000 layoffs or job cuts. It's very depressing, isn't it? Now, these companies, they always appear as though nothing's going wrong until things go downhill. But I want to talk to you today about how to cope with layoffs. It's very easy to feel, well, it's not me. I'm not the casualty or the person affected. But I want you to think about it. What if it was you? Think about that for a moment. How would you navigate that? For me, I experienced this back in 2009. I lost my job at a tech company that I was enjoying so much, but the economy tanked, and the first people to let go are the people in the offices. And it was a very difficult experience that left me feeling lost and unsure. I got a phone call, Phil, come over to my office. We have to talk. That was my CEO. I go over to the CEO's office and he says, I guess you know why you're here. I said, no, I don't know. In fact, I was thinking the opposite because people had started jumping ship. So I thought my responsibilities were increasing. Instead, he said, no, Phil, today is your last day. Go to your office, pack your box, take your belongings. That's it. Wow. It was such a difficult experience that left me feeling very lost and unsure of my next steps. I remember staying in the car park there after I had packed my belongings rather unexpectedly, and I allowed the emotions to simmer because I wasn't feeling very good. You got to remember, for those of you who are parents, the first thing you think about is your kids and insurance and bills. And that's what happened to me. However, I refused to let it define me as I pondered there at sea, thinking. I thought I would look for new opportunities to explore my passions. And through hard work, determination, and a willingness to take risks, I decided to sign up to become a registered education provider of the Project Management Institute through my company, Praizion. Praizion became a registered education provider. But what a lot of people didn't know is the company that I had left was owing its employees for several weeks, months, salaries. So, as I was flying by the seat of my pants, to be quite honest, it was on a credit card. A credit card that at the end of the day came down to the last $2,000. That was the last money I had in the world. So think about the risk I took saying I'm going to become a registered education provider with the PMI, and I know it's a risk, but I'm going to take it. And without that situation, my friends, I wouldn't be where I am today. Through hard work, determination, partners, other support from family, I became a full-time coach and speaker. I remember my very first speaking engagement was in New Jersey, and it was a transformative journey. It was the beginnings of going fully into what I had always thought about for some time, but I just didn't have the oomph, the wherewithal to face the risk and go at it. It was this situation that made me take a look at my options, and I didn't have a whole lot of options. But it was a transformative journey that led me to coach incredible organizations like NASA and the FBI, the US Army, the Army Corps, and the US Air Force, to mention a few. I actually found myself training our friends in the US Air Force at Mildenhall. Went back to London, boarded a train to Mildenhall, was there on the Air Force base with our men and women in uniform. What an honor to be able to do that. But I would never have imagined I would be working with these organizations when I lost my job in 2009. But I embraced the unknown, and it led me down a path that was beyond my wildest dreams. So I share this story with you, my friends, to encourage you that in spite of this layoff, in spite of the craziness on the page preceding that I was reviewing with you a few seconds ago here, whether it's Meta and their 10,000 layoffs or Redfin, about 4% of its workforce, Apple is laying off a small number of roles in its corporate retail team. Netflix is also laying off folks as well. Roku, Lucid, GitHub, you name it, right? Salesforce, Accenture. It's like there's no end to these layoffs. And you know the thing I hate about these layoffs? I hate the seemingly cold and callous announcement. It reminds me of Squid Game or the Hunger Games. It's brutal. It's brutal. So I want to share with you some ideas. I call it layoff survival strategies. I want you to see this as survival strategy. I want you to bounce back from this stronger, more resilient, better than ever. I want it to be you 2.0. Can we decide to do that? Make it a you 2.0? I'm going to give you 4 key things to do to keep your sanity. Number 1, stay positive. Focus on things you can control and try to maintain a PMA. The great Zig Ziglar says it's not your aptitude that determines your altitude. It's all about your attitude. You got to have a positive mental attitude. I don't want you to get into the plum disease, and that's PLOM, which just stands for poor little old me. I don't want you to have that disposition. I want you to take care of yourself. Physical, emotional needs, eat well, get enough sleep. Reach out to friends, reach out to family, reach out to me if you're in my circle for support. I'm here for you, my friend. Practice mindfulness. Try to stay present in the moment. Avoid worrying about the future. Worrying doesn't do any good. Introspective thought and thinking and calculating next steps strategically does help. And that's what I did to get myself out of that stuck state of owing tens of thousands of dollars, upwards of $60,000, $70,000 on a credit card. It all got paid off. It wasn't by worrying. It was by strategic thinking. Spend some time with your hobbies. Right now, you can engage in activities that you enjoy and bring you a sense of fulfillment, whether it's reading, painting, playing music, like I do, whatever makes you happy, do that. And then I want you to review your strategies. After you've addressed the you part, keeping yourself sane, let's now talk about survival strategies. And that's what I did. You got to review your finances. You got to ask, what do I need to cut off right now? Right? Create a budget that will allow you to survive in the event of a layoff. I had a huge threshold on my credit card, and thank goodness, because that's what I dipped into till I got down to the last $2,000. But you don't want it to get that dire. You want to be aggressive in your strategy so that you can conserve and have reserves that will last you until you find your next gig. You want to network and reach out to your professional network on LinkedIn and let them know that you're looking for work. Consider attending industry events and job fairs to make new connections. Update your resume and online profiles. Go to my website. It's pmanonymous.com if you are looking for coaching, mentoring, and advice. Also go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Project Leadership Institute. You'll find a whole lot of videos on resume advice, interview advice, and so on. So make sure your resume and your LinkedIn profile are up to date. Showcase your skills and accomplishments. Consider freelance work. Maybe this is time for you to build your business. Maybe it's time for you to do something similar to what I did. Look at your skills. Maybe you could become a coach. Maybe you could become a mentor. There's not enough of us in the world that do an awesome job. There's a lot of us, but not enough excellence in the realm of coaching and development and training in whatever field you're in. I encourage you, it's a starting point. Hey, it's hope. Go on down to the website, WYZANT. Maybe you're a coach, maybe you're a trainer, maybe you have these propensities. Maybe you're doing this at work, and before the layoff, you were a great trainer. So how about setting up a profile on wyzant.com? Go on there, you'll see me there. I'm not telling you to do something I haven't done. Expand your horizon. You just never know who you will meet. And some of the greatest individuals I've met is through social media and connectivities that we are able to employ electronically. I didn't meet these folks in person. It was all electronic. So one of my best voiceover talents, Peter Baker, I met him through social media, through freelance stuff that he was doing. Awesome voiceover talent, but I would never have met him if he didn't put himself out there. And we've done several books together. So many books, so much great content. So consider freelance work on Wyzant. It's the beginning. What are you good at? Are you a business analyst? Are you a project management trainer? Have you ever been a college professor? Are you a great graphic artist? Are you a planner? Are you a professional who has got skills that others would want? It's not a bad idea to go on down to Wyzant. Go on down to upwork.com. Put your profile up there. These things keep hope alive, my friend. In closing, while layoffs can be a challenging and stressful experience, there are ways to keep your sanity and survive during this time. Remember to stay positive, take care of yourself, pursue activities, hobbies, things that bring you joy. Additionally, review your finances. Just be candid and honest. It might be time for you to cut back on some stuff, and that's okay. But with determination and perseverance, you can weather the storm. Remember to go on down to the website I mentioned, Upwork, Wyzant, Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com is another place freelancers go. You just never know what may occupy you until you find your next gig. Perhaps, just like I did, my next gig was something I had procrastinated about for eons until that happened. Whatever your journey, I wish you all the very best. Be optimistic, be positive. if it could be a bounce back experience for me, like I would never even have imagined in my wildest dreams, it could be the same for you. Start looking around. Another time in my career, I took a hiatus from work and decided to chill for some months, and I had worked in some jobs that allowed me to do that. And getting back into the market, I had an interview with a company I'd been chasing down for years. Maybe this is a time for you to look at companies you have been thinking about. Maybe companies you love. Maybe companies you feel an affinity for, which is crazy. I felt an affinity for Honeywell and I didn't know why. And I tried applying several times, never got any response. But one day there was a response. They were looking for an earned value expert. Now, I was a PMP, but I wasn't much of an earned value expert. I learned about earned value for my PMP, but I went for the interview. While I took that hiatus, had the interview, got the job, gained a ton of experience that caused me to write a book, Earned Value Basics. And from there, the rest is history, from one strength to another. But it was all because of positivity, my friend. You got to be positive and you got to be strategic. I wish you all the very best. Trust me, this too, it'll pass. You'll find yourself on the other end of the rainbow by your pot of gold.